Good morning, everyone. We are going to get started in the interest of being on time. We will start with a call to order. We do have a quorum that's already been established. Our amazing Jared has informed me of that. And so I would like to call this meeting to order. It is now 9:30 on May the 23rd. We will start off by doing some introductions. We will start with in the room folks. So my name is Diana Rumsey. I am with the Independence Center and I am your chair for today. And then to my right,
Laura Cruz, Mobility Coordinator for PPACG.
Fantastic. And then we will just kind of go around the little Zoom boxes as I see them. So Emily.
I'm Emily with the City of Fountain.
Fantastic. Luke.
This is Luke Kerr with the Town and Monument.
Excellent. Chelsea.
Hey everybody, Chelsea Gondek. I'm with the Colorado Springs Downtown Partnership.
Good morning. Valerie.
Hi, this is Valerie with Silver Key Senior Services.
Excellent. Kristen.
Hi everyone, it's Kristen with Goodwill of Colorado.
Good morning. Jacob.
Hello everyone, Jacob Matson with Mountain Metro Transit.
Excellent. All right. Is that everybody, Jared? Did I get everybody?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Oh, good morning, Dick. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sorry, Dick, I just unmuted you. You should be able to introduce yourself now.
I will introduce Dick. Dick is from, my brain is going, Community Intersections.
Fantastic.
There he is.
Well, good morning. And then we have Lois who has joined us. Lois, can you introduce yourself?
Hey, good morning. Someone can hear me.
Yes, Dick, we can hear you.
Good morning, this is
Thank you.
Lois Landgraf. Hi, Dick.
All right. Outstanding. All
morning.
right. Good morning, everyone. All right. So we have done introductions. And we will move on to the agenda approval. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as it currently sits?
I move.
Dick, I so motions.
Okay.
Second.
All right. And Lois is seconded. All right. And then can I get a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Dick, I says aye.
Wonderful. Any opposed? All right, seeing no opposition, the order stands as agenda as I need one more cup of coffee. The agenda has been approved. All right. Approval of the minutes. Can I get, there they are, fantastic. So these are the minutes from last meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes as they stand?
Dick, I so motions.
Fantastic. Can I get a second?
Kristen Amundsen, second.
Outstanding. All right, so I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the minutes as they stand from the April 25th meeting, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I
Aye.
Fantastic. Any opposed? All right, seeing no opposition, we will move on as approved for the minutes from last meeting. All right, then that moves us on to item number 4, public comments and presentations. I don't believe we have any of those today, unless I am mistaken.
So, Madam Chair, we did not receive any emailed public comments, and no one and everyone online is a member of the committee. So
Okay, fantastic. Action items. Any action items for today? No, we're good. All right. No membership appointments. Okay. And I don't believe we have any community guest presenters today. Is that correct? Okay, fantastic. All right. We are moving through this meeting. Item number 8. We will start. Shall we start with information sharing? Okay, let's do that. Okay, so the 2 pieces sounds good. All right, so this is the opportunity to kind of share any new and exciting things that you all are working on, give any organizational updates. So Jacob, oh, you were on the top of the little, Hollywood Squares box, but you disappeared. Okay, so Jacob, we'll let you start us off.
So on my side, it says my camera's been disabled and I can no longer share video. So that's why I'm like, oh, well, I guess I might as well turn it off. So yeah, Laura asked me last week to kind of give an update kind of on our Zero Fare for Better Air, and then also our ZEB 1 year, kind of where we're at. So with the Zero Fare for Better Air, if you don't know already, Mountain Metro Transit will be going fare free for the months of June, July, and August. That includes both our fixed route and our paratransit operations. So anybody using Metro Mobility or using our fixed route, it is a free fare during that time. One of the things that kind of came up during this last year was, how are we tracking this? Well, if you all recall, and for those of you that were involved, the Free Fare for Better Air campaign, the grant did not get approval until like a week or 2 before the actual rollout. So the actual like data analysis leading up to it wasn't there. So we started to look at some things and see how we can track this and see, are people sticking around more with by having a free fare operations. So last year we did see quite a steep increase in the number of individuals that used the bus, but then it kind of came down in the following months after that. So some of the metrics some of the things we're doing this year and some of the metrics we're looking at include some of the following, which are surveying. One of the things we're doing with our Metro Rides program, we have this thing called Ride Pro, and it's an online source that we can track commuter information and data. So we've reached out to the public and are offering some free 31-day bus passes on a drawing for those individuals that sign up for Metro Rides and fill out a survey that is coming out automatic to any new individual on the Metro Rides program. So the survey kind of asks, it's really brief, I think six questions, and it's pretty much asking, kind of what are your commuting patterns and what would change that. So it's a really easy survey. I'm already looking at results and seeing people are logging into that. But then we're also looking to take that and encourage individuals to go onto the commuter log page and there actually track what their activity is on a given week. Now, we don't know at this time, it's all voluntary. We're not certain who all is going to actually go in there and do all that, but we're also offering additional drawings for that as well. And what that provides us through this website that we have is kind of what the reductions are in greenhouse emissions. So we're hoping to get something of an estimate, unlikely to be statistical, but at least something of a talking point from that. So we're sending that out there and seeing what people kind of send back, and then we're looking to follow up again at the end of the Free Fare for Better Air and see for those same individuals with the first survey, have their commuting patterns change. So we're able to track all that information and get it out. So that'll hopefully give us some good information when we look back on this. Also, other things we're tracking is incidents as a public transit operation. A common issue with free fare or no fare is that you have an increase in individuals, usually homeless individuals that are not leaving the bus. More of an issue typically in the winter or when it's super hot. So we're going to be tracking that. Last year during August when we did this, we did not have much of an uptick. It was actually quite good to see that, and we had less issues with the buses being held up for customer compliance type issues than we did in other months. So we'll be tracking that and making sure that looks good. Also tracking our on-time performance. With more people comes more need to more time at bus stops for loading and unloading. However, you also gain time by not having to collect a fare. So we're going to see what that looks like with their on-time performance on similar routes compared to other months. So yeah, that's kind of some of the data we're looking at. There'll obviously be more, but that's kind of a quick nitty-gritty, or not nitty-gritty, it's kind of a very kind of broad detail for what we're looking at there. And then I guess before I move on to the ZEB, any questions on our Zero Fare for Better Air?
Did you say June, July, August?
Yes. Well, And then with the ZEB, so we hit the 1 year mark a couple of days ago. We are having a 1 year celebration this Thursday at the Paralympic and Olympic Museum for to celebrate the 1 year. So we're doing kind of a whole event there. So with that, I kind of took a look at our numbers as we kind of have gone through the year. Right now, our highest usage in terms of passengers per revenue hour are on Saturdays, at least this last month of April. We're seeing right around 6 to 7 individuals an hour per revenue service hour on that service. It might be worth noting on the weekdays, which is another number we get right around 5 to 6 we're looking at right now in the last few months per revenue service hour on the weekday. We also, with our most recent change, did a little bit of moving around of our buses and our timetables, and we're able to keep at the 7 to 10 minute frequencies while reducing the number of buses that were needed. That will hopefully help the revenue service hour number go up. You have less revenue service hours, and if you have the same number of passengers, your passengers per revenue service hour increase. So that's kind of what we're hoping. Seeing around 10,000 or so passengers a month is what we saw, particularly back in April. And as we move into the summer season, hoping to see that increase, but challenges with detours and other special events sometimes play with our numbers a little bit on that. But we're very happy to celebrate our 1 year, 1 year of doing the ZEB, and look forward to this upcoming year and hopefully increase ridership and getting the word out and getting more people on the bus. So with that, any other questions?
Just not a question, but Jacob, I think you guys actually received some MMOF funding to extend the ZEB more years out. So that's a great thing that's come through for you all. So I know that it was originally started with some FTA coronavirus funding, and now y'all have more sustainable funding kind of moving forward with it. So that's super cool. And I hear that there's cake that's going to be there with the celebration.
You're correct.
So
yeah, and we'll also be taking one of the
What
ZEB
time?
buses down there and running through a banner.
What isn't I just had a question that came from Melissa about the time of it on Thursday, and I believe it's at 11 o'clock, right?
Correct. Yep, 11 o'clock.
Hey, Jacob, this is
Sure.
Chelsea. Just a clarifying question about that additional funding. Is that because I believe the first round of funding that was secured for ZEB was for the first 3 years of operations? So is this like beyond that? What would it be, 2024?
I would have to check with our finance department to find out more specifics on that. I do not know off the top of my head.
Okay, thank you.
I believe Jacob, I'll step in because I looked at all those MMOF applications. I believe this extends it to 2026.
Okay, thanks, Laura.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all. Appreciate it.
I'm gonna hit Jacob up for something else. Sorry, bud.
No, it's okay.
Sorry, Jacob, I forgot to ask you about this. Ask you to talk about this. Is it premature to go ahead and talk a little bit about the deviated fixed route that y'all have been operating and wanting to kind of launch more of a marketing campaign on?
No, I don't think it's out of place at all.
Cool.
So we have a deviated fixed route with our routes 38 and 40. 48 is a seasonal service, which currently is not operating, but the 38 does deviate upon request. We have a special number for that. I'm checking our website right now to see if this has gotten its own page yet, because I've been waiting for that, and I'm not seeing it right now. But basically, we're looking to have it its own separate page for kind of explains the service to individuals. So our Route 38 connects at kind of the near Montebello and Academy area, and connects all the way up to the northern hospitals with Memorial North in that area. And then the deviation goes up to 3/4 mile off of that route. The caveat that for this one is we're using our full-size bus. So either a 30 or a 35 footer would likely be on that route, more likely a 35 footer, depending on the daily needs. So the bus is limited in terms of where it can deviate to within that area. We are looking at other options of how we can provide the service, including cutaways. Right now, we're kind of in the preliminary stages of looking into what that could look like, where you'd have a more door-to-door level of service, but there's nothing that we've been, or we haven't officially gone down that route yet. The current setup is set for a $1 surcharge for each deviation. So if you're someone with a disability, you would pay your 85-cent fare, and on top of that, it'd be a $1 surcharge. To be clear, though, this is not specific to individuals with disabilities. It's anybody that wants it within 3/4 mile of the route. Called for the first call, it needs to be 3 to 5 days in advance to get the location set up. And then for any subsequent calls, it's 1 to 3 days in advance. So it follows basically our Metro mobility setup. And yeah, so that's kind of a service in a nutshell. And let me take a step back. When we do the deviation and we look for the location, we work with the individual to find out what could work for them. Odds, as you would imagine, we're not going to be able to take a 35-foot bus down a residential street for the most part and park in front of someone's house. So we look for a location that works best for them, and we reach back out and find out and kind of negotiate with the individual of what that would look like and where to expect the bus to pick them up. So, yep, that's pretty much the service in a nutshell.
So once you get that, once that page is established, feel free to send it out or send it to me, and I'll send it out to you, the full group, so that we can start promoting that service a little bit more. But that's exciting, and I know that typically transit agencies that try deviated, especially in the urbanized area, try deviated routes. It's the initial test to see if that should be a full service route. So is that sort of y'all's intention with the deviation?
It definitely something to look at. It's a pilot project. We have funding for this to run through into next fall. So we have a little more than a year left on that. In terms of these routes, the 30 and 40, they're the northern route, and they have low ridership. So we're trying to find a way to see if we can spur additional ridership and see what that would look like. And hopefully the deviation helps that. To date, we have not really gotten much for requests. We've had a handful of requests, but nothing substantial at this point. So we're looking, like you had commented, to promote it more, working with our planning department, who is kind of works with our marketing stuff to get that word out.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you want to get?
All right. So next, in terms of updates and information sharing, we'll go to Emily.
Good morning, everyone. So we have also planned on doing the free fares from June 1st into August 31st. We have also asked for extra money for additional advertising for our benches and shelters, which we have not done so far. We do have verbal confirmation, and we were going to start advertising once we have the official confirmation. Last year, due to this campaign, we've seen an increase of more than 50% over the previous 3 years average ridership for the month of August. And the elevator passenger rides persisted for at least 3 months after the zero fare month. If we see a similar increase this year, we anticipate providing almost, 4,400 passenger rides. We have already taken phone calls from residents asking if we are participating in this as they ride Mountain Metro and our service. And they are looking forward to getting out for the summer. And some of the calls that we've had have been families with multiple children and the adult students going up to the Pikes Peak State College. So we are really looking forward to participating this year and seeing the growth that we are projecting to have. Is there anything else?
That's awesome, Emily. I'm glad both our large transit agencies are able to participate, and I'm glad that it was passed this year for us to be able to cover the full summer instead of just August. So that's really exciting. I know that there was a conversation at the CASTA conference about, what does it look like in the future if transit was zero fare throughout the year, right?
Right.
There's a lot of questions around that, and I think a lot of transit agencies are looking at these demonstration projects and trying to see how that works within their budget. But it's also something that there's opportunities in the future for us to engage CASTA in a larger conversation around funding to expand more of these opportunities for transit folks. Because I think last year, Mountain Metro in the 1 month basically increased their rides 100,000. I think that's correct, Jacob. That's just um, a huge impact there, and just showing that making things free allows more options for folks and people to make decisions about how they get to work and how they get to play. So thanks, guys, for giving us that update.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Emily? Super exciting things this summer to look forward to. All right, so next I see Dick. Dick, would you like to give us some updates?
I would love to, but I really don't have anything to say.
All right.
Compared to what's going on with everybody else, I heard we're waiting on 2 new buses to come in. That's pretty much about it.
Okay, well then we will celebrate with you when they come in. That will be
And I'll let
exciting.
everybody know. Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you. All right, next on my boxes of Hollywood Square folks is Luke.
I don't really have any updates. I'm just here listening and learning.
Okay, sounds good. Valerie.
Hi, this is Valerie with Silver Key again. And I would say, so we're waiting on 3 buses also from CDOT. We have had theft last week on our lot. So we have had 5 of our vehicles. They took the catalytic converters on one night, and then they came back another night and took 1 more. So we have, we had received funding from PPCGA and some donors to really improve our lot. And we have it fenced, we have lights, we have alarms, but they can steal these things so quickly that we've been hit again. And they're about $3,000 to repair them. But so that was our exciting thing for the last week. And then we are working forward on our MMOF funding and hope to have that contract any day so that we can expand our rides. We're turning away between 200 and 300 rides a month. So we are referring those out as we can to other agencies. So we still have a great need for seniors here in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm so sorry that those things happened. That's not a good thing.
Excuse me, this is Dick. I have a question for the Silver Key.
Sure.
Sure.
Did you have any catalytic cages on those catalytics that were stolen, or just the fence, the lot protection?
Just the lock protection. And one of our, someone that we collaborate with in Vita, we contacted them, and the last 3 that they had stolen did have cages. So they're not suggesting that we spend the additional $500 to $600 to add the cages, because they just cut them off. It's really quick. We can see them. We have cameras, but they're smart. They have hoodies and medical masks on, so you can't identify them. And they parked in some place we couldn't find the vehicle.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Sure.
Oh, my stars. All right. So Jason is next.
I appreciate that. Val's done all the updates. I'm Jason DeBueno with Silver Key. The one thing that I guess I will share is that for those who don't know, we have the Silver Key Senior Summit happening July 11th at the Antlers. We'd love to see you all there, and appreciate all that have been able to sign up to be sponsors of the event and supporters. Again, July 11th at the Antlers here in Colorado Springs. Exciting to hopefully get a lot of traffic at that event. Take care.
Fantastic. Thank you. Glenn, I see that you have joined us.
I have a quick update. I've had internet problems all morning, so I've only just gotten on to the internet, so I apologize for being late. I haven't checked email yet because I haven't had email access, but as of last Friday, we were expecting a NOFA to be released for admin operating for May 22nd. I don't know if you have seen that yet. Capital projects was estimated to the NOFA to come out in July. Also, we're trying to clear some confusion on the ordering of vehicles. If you have funding from CDOT coming in, don't order vehicles until you have a signed agreement. There's some confusion out there that folks have just been going ahead and ordering those vehicles prior to an effective contract date. So another thing to be careful about. I'm finding the conversation on catalytic converters interesting too. I had a conversation with a company down in southern New Mexico last year, and they have a fenced-in facility. They said they were still having catalytic converters stolen, but they had a solution, and their solution was a pit bull with an attitude. And they the dog has stopped the theft from their lot of catalytic converters. So I don't know if that's an option or not, but thought I'd throw that out there.
Hey, Glenn, we have thought of that, but do you know if there's an agency that we could rent it? Because rent a dog, because we don't really have the ability to take care of the dog during the day.
You know, I don't know of any canine agencies around. I know those exist throughout the country, but that's a good question. I think I'll look into that.
Thank you.
Thanks for asking.
Come on, Val. I know you need another pet.
Oh, I would love another pet, but yeah, we were thinking a German Shepherd or a large dog, but then we also are worried that they would poison it or hurt it. So I don't know. That's doesn't feel right either. So.
Agreed.
All right. So Chelsea, you're next.
Hey everyone, not anything really specific kind of beyond what MMT shared. We'll obviously be at the celebration of the ZEB's 1 year. And we're actively promoting the Zero Fare for Cleaner Air timeline.
Fantastic. Kristen.
Hi, everyone. I don't have too much to add. We are getting a new manager, I'm told, for our Goodwheels transportation program in June. So when I meet that person, I will maybe try to connect them to this committee and see if they'd want to be involved. And really sorry to hear about the catalytic converter cages. Our Goodwill fleet maintenance shop does them for about $180 to $200, the cages. And yeah, really sad to hear that that still happens where they're cutting them out. But if you guys have any other questions or want to connect with me on that, as long as the supply costs are about the same, that's what we had been doing cages for people that are kind of our fleet maintenance customers. So yeah, sorry to hear about that. The dog is a great idea, but I would worry too about the hurting him. So thank you guys.
Thank you. Sagan.
You're on mute, Sagan.
All right. So then we will move on to folks in the room. Oh, hi, I don't have audio capabilities this morning. Oh, okay. Feel free to put it in the chat if you have any updates that you'd like to share with the group. Okay, we will move on to folks in the room and then we will read out the chat if, oh, okay, no comments at this time. All right, well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, so we will move on. Lois.
Well, nothing compared to what everybody else has reported. But I will say we are starting this is the resource exchange. Our legislative group is becoming much more active, and we're starting what we've titled a DART team, a disability. I don't remember what it stands for, but basically we're looking for a group of people, family members, staff members, community members, who will be prepared to go and testify when there is an issue either in the legislature or with the county commissioners or anywhere. And I'm hoping that our group will be able to intersect with members from this group and others so that if it's a transportation issue, we are ready and prepared to support or not, depending on, what it is and where it is. I will be taking all of this information back to the resource exchange. So I feel like my role is really from here to there more than there to here, if that makes sense. But I appreciate being here and getting all this great information from everybody. So thank you. And then if there's ever a situation where you need support on issues, we hope to be ready to go.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Laura.
Just a couple of things. Glenn kind of touched on, and yes, Glenn, the notification went out yesterday to folks about the NOFA. I also forwarded it out to the MCC group. So I did make a comment on that email that I just want to share. We have folks on the call that operate outside of what is called the urbanized area. And if you don't know where that is, please let me know. We actually have a link on our website that you can access our ArcGIS public site to be able to see what those boundaries are. But there are folks on the call that do operate outside of the urbanized area that could benefit from operating and capital projects or capital funding from CDOT. And I just encourage you guys to kind of look into those options. I had a conversation with CDOT last year about 5310 funding. It is kind of heavily underutilized in outside of the urbanized areas. And CDOT administers the rural and small urban 5310 money. We have a lot of needs out there in our rural areas for demand response rides. I know that we have folks on the call that operate 5311 programs and do deviated fixed route with 5311 programs outside the urbanized area. But there is that other option for the 5310 funding that may be a better fit in some areas than 5311. So if you have any questions about your projects or ideas that you have for outside the urbanized area, feel free to reach out to Glenn as well as myself if you want me to be a conduit to CDOT, and we can kind of talk through some of those options. That being said, also, one of the things that I had talked about probably 2 years ago is the urbanized area boundaries are changing. We had the 2020 census that has come through. It usually takes about 4 years for it to be programmed into federal programs. And what that means is ultimately FTA and FHWA, so Federal Highways and Federal Transit Administration, they look at the new census data and work with the MPOs, which is us, Metropolitan Planning Organizations, for us to redefine the urbanized area based upon population density, and a crazy formula that they put together that I don't completely understand. So I just wanted to let you guys know that the urbanized area is officially supposed to impact federal funding for federal fiscal year 24. So that would be October 1 of this year would be federal fiscal year 24. So we will be rolling out information on that and have new maps for you guys so that you can kind of understand what the boundaries are for funding, specifically around your 5311 and 5310 funding. and the 5307 funding as to where those funds can be utilized. So I'm hoping that we will see our boundaries grow because we have this sprawling effect in our city in particular of housing. And so we want to make for sure that the funding makes sense in the areas that need it. So we also may see a slight adjustment in our 5310 funding that PPACG administers because of that population growth and spread. So the more that we see that play out, the more that we'll be able to share that with you guys. Another update that I have is we are in about 6 months of our on-demand pilot that we have been doing with Envita as the operator, and definitely seeing an uptick in folks that are utilizing the service. It has been an operational learning curve for folks for our for Envita as well as for us as an agency. Just learning sort of how to respond to that type of work, how to accommodate different needs of folks, how to communicate about the program, those types of things. So we will be wrapping up at least the pilot phase through the NADTC grant, which is National Aging Disability Transportation Center. Grant June 30th, but our hope is to extend that program to ensure that we can kind of have a better picture. 8 months is in 6 months, essentially, of those 8 months have been in the winter months. We're seeing the uptick now that it's nicer outside, but being able to demonstrate and learn a little bit more over the course of this year. So hoping to expand that. And looking to other agencies as well who may want to participate in providing on-demand rides. We can kind of talk through what that looks like. Envita has a great idea of how much that kind of costs for them to accommodate that service. So if you have any questions about that or are interested in participating in some of that work, we would love to talk to you guys. It's been very beneficial for those that are participating, really on the social isolation side. These rides have more been towards social activities than medical appointments, which is what we're typically focused on with specialized transportation. And so we've had some great comments from folks that have enjoyed the service. I had a rider 2 weeks ago email me and say, I had a great experience with the on-demand service. I asked her where she went. She said, I went to Michael's. I bought too much stuff. I went home. I had to go back and I had to return some stuff. So just these basic things that typically us folks that drive and have that capability to drive, just we do organically, but for folks that depend upon transit don't typically have that opportunity. So this is just a way to kind of enhance the service and bring some what I would call normalcy to some of those people who don't typically have a normal transportation experience. So I'm really excited about that. And I think that is all that I have. One other thing for those that typically this time of year, PPACG is launching our RFP for AAA funds and 5310 funds. We are actually in a 2-year cycle with our providers. So we are not launching our NOFA this year because of that. We chose to go to a 2-year cycle with providers, just to help them with some of the administrative parts of basically having to turn around and do another application, but also to help us administratively with programming and that kind of thing, so that we can kind of have kind of be ahead of the game, having that 2-year window. So we are in the process for AAA and 5310, reaching out to the current providers and working with them on their updated budgets. So we will have those contracts out in July, the updated contracts or contract amendments out in July. So for those that are on the call that are AAA providers, and for those that want to be AAA or 5310 providers in the future, our next NOFA or super call will be out next spring. So more to come on that. Any questions for me?
I have one.
Yes.
What does NOFA stand for?
Yeah, notice of funding availability. Yeah.
Thank you.
So it's like an RFP, but we have to call it something different because there's different rules around the RFP than there is a NOFA.
Okay.
So, but yes, we basically in the spring, about this time, now every 2 years, we'll launch our NOFA for AAA funding, 5310 funding, and our transportation dollars through PPRTA.
Thank you very much.
All right, fantastic. So I will give the quick update for the Independence Center. So we are finishing May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month, and then we are going to be launching into Disability Awareness Month pretty soon. We will also be having a celebration of the signing of the ADA, which is July 26, 1990, for those of you who want that exact date. And we will be having something called a Fest-a-Bull in July at the Independence Center, where we will be inviting providers to come and talk to folks. We're going to be having lots of really cool games and experiences. Last year we had folks from archery. We had some of the track chairs. So we're really hoping to kind of continue to partner with those organizations and offer people a wonderful experience. There will also be food and music and liveliness, and there will be some shade. We will get some tents so people don't get super toasty in the July heat. So we're very much looking forward to that, and I'll continue to kind of give everyone updates as we get closer. But yes, rest assured, you will probably be getting a phone call and or email from me asking if you would like to come on down and set up a booth or and just kind of partner and just have a good time in general celebrating. So that's that in a nutshell.
It was a great event last year. I was excited to be able to participate. So yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Oh, so Lois had asked about an exact date, and I will absolutely get that out to you. I don't know it off the top of my head, but we typically have it and or around the anniversary date, which is again kind of July 26th. So, so yes, I will get that update for everyone. All right, I believe we have captured everyone's updates. I'm just looking at the little Zoom icons. I think I've called on everyone. Okay, fantastic. I don't want to miss anyone. All right, items for next meeting, because I believe we've covered points A and B on number 8. Any items for next meeting? No? Yes.
We will have, I haven't been able to talk to Sagan about this yet, but we will try to do a report out on the on-demand, since we will basically be wrapping up the initial program a couple of days after the MCC meeting. So yeah, more to come on that for sure. So that is one thing. If there's other things for this group from this group that you guys would be interested in us talking about, we will also just came to mind. We will also we are in the process and in negotiations right now with a consultant to do the specialized transit plan and transit plan. So hoping by next meeting, we'll have more of like a breakdown on the timeline for that, when we're going to be doing the public involvement, and that kind of thing. So we're still in a little bit of a holdup, but I hear we're on step 6 of 8 with CDOT of getting some funding transferred to us, to complete that plan, not to us, but to MMT, to complete that plan. Everybody that's on the call here will definitely be engaged in that planning process. We have a timeline that is set right now for essentially 12 months to complete the plan. The last plans were completed in about 9, and it was very rushed. So we know that moving forward, we've put some more time aside to do this. But also, I just want to remind people that those of you who receive federal funding or are going after federal funding, these plans are super important because they are tied to your ability to get federal funding. So it's going to be important moving forward that y'all are engaged in the process. We also met with internally with MMT as well as PPACG staff to talk through the public engagement piece of it, to clarify with each other what we wanted that to look like. And definitely going to be looking more towards engaging folks that utilize transit, not just the providers, but utilizing those that utilize transit and figuring out how as a provider group, how to respond to those needs. But also engaging folks that don't utilize transit, and figuring out how do we move them towards transit for carbon reduction and ozone reduction purposes. So it's a big deal. And I'm looking forward to working with you guys on the plan. So items for next meeting, hopefully a update on where we are, and a work plan that essentially we would be able to present, as well as a kind of initial wrap up of the on-demand pilot that we've been doing with Invita. Last thing, so many things on my mind. We are hopefully in print getting the mobility guide out. I think it's been sent to the printer or close to being sent to the printer. I'm looking at Jared.
Close to being sent to the printer.
Okay.
Working on some Medicaid stuff as well, so.
Okay, so close to being sent to the printer and also being translated. So we will have that. I know I've been talking about it for a year, but we actually received funding from NADTC to print this, print the mobility guide, and it can be shared broadly. It's not just for individuals with disabilities or seniors to access the different types of transportation options available to those specific groups. It's all transportation modes. So there's information about Pike Ride in there. There's information about scooters in there. So we're excited. We basically had to put a line in the sand with providers that were giving us information about their updates and changes. We will be reworking this every year. And so we are setting aside AAA money to print this. It will be in the budget every year to print it along with the yellow books. So that's exciting, and we'll need y'all's help getting the not just yellow books, but also the mobility guides out to folks. So we will be able to present that at the next meeting as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for all of that. Anyone else? No? All right. Well, then it gives me great pleasure to give you all this time back. It is 10:19 and we will adjourn. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful rest of the day and enjoy the beautiful weather.